At least I think we are. Hey, if you're watching this tonight, you're probably wondering, where is the star of the show, Victor? Victor is not feeling well. He still doesn't have his voice. So for those of you who know Victor, as of those of you who know me, that's very difficult for Victor. So Victor's not going to be joining us tonight, but since tonight is American night, who better than me, I guess, to talk with our Americans who are back in the States. So I'm excited actually to talk with these guys because I have talked with them while we've been here. Well, this has all been going on, and well, the guys were in the States, but I haven't had these two together in some time. So we are live, and yeah, so I got Dylan and Mike with us. Where are you guys? Just so everybody knows, they could get some sense of where you're at.
I am in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the home of Rocky Balboa.
You don't sound nothing. You sound nothing like Rocky, when you talk.
Rocky is a fake character, and
you got to throw an Adrian in there, bro.
Adrian!
and Dylan, you're coming to us from your car, I could see.
Yeah, I am currently at a job site, but I'm still located in Melbourne, Florida. So I'm just down the road from my house, working a little bit, doing some construction, some stuff I've never done before. So it's been fun. Been working on this townhome for the last 3 weeks, learning how to lay tile and do roof stuff I've never even thought that I'd ever do before, but got to make some money. So it's all good.
And Mike, you've been working too, right?
Floor demo before. It's you got to learn how to do it when you got to make money.
Dude,
and Mike, how have you been making some money while you're back in the States right now? You've been working for your dad, yeah?
I've been working for my dad a couple hours each day. I've been selling IT and office equipment and supplies to the United States federal government, and it's all been sanitization products. It hasn't been like pens, pencils. It hasn't been like that. It's been all sanitization. So like disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, anything like that. That's what I've been selling, and it's been going pretty well. I got an order for $175,000 the other day.
Well, I mean, if there's any good industry to work in right now, it's either Zoom, which I'm really lamenting that I didn't buy stock in Zoom about 7 weeks ago, or it is the medical supply or industry or any sort like that. So yeah. Well, Mike, you actually gave us a good segue because let's just be honest. The elephant in the room, right? We've had some press over the last few weeks. For those of you
good
out
press.
there that Mike continues to tell me it's good press. It is. But we've been in the news. Just to name a few, we've been in the New York Times, the Washington Post. At one point, I Google searched the title of the article, and guys, there was 5 or 6 pages deep of Google searches on my computer with the article from the AP, Associated Press, and of course, the Czech News picked things up immediately once that happened. So this is kind of the elephant in the room. We're not going to talk about this because, let's be honest, we're all COVIDed out. But how are you guys? How are your loved ones? Just give us a brief update about that.
Good.
We'll start with the COVID star of the Prague Lions, Dylan Reda.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm positive 19 according to the memes page, so it's cool. No, I'm feeling good. I'm healthy. Everybody's healthy. Obviously everyone that I've been around on the team and stuff was healthy, so that's great. Family's doing great, and at this point I'm able to work out again. I'm able to work. I feel good. So everything's good. Everything is positive on my end. I guess that's the wrong word.
Is that a pun? Is that a pun?
Yeah. Yep. Throwing them in there. So, but yeah, everything's good on my end. Family's all been healthy, and it's back to, I guess, not business as usual, but health-wise, I'm business as usual.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off what Dylan said, I've been fine. As the day after my doctor told me that I was cleared, I was playing 5-on-5 outside basketball with my boys. So
Quarantine.
And for those of you out there who are wondering,
so I did
it. For those of you out there wondering, should they be practicing social distancing in Philadelphia? The answer is yes, they should, but it's Philadelphia. So Philadelphia is its own entity. Sometime when Mike's back here in Prague, if you want to take him out for a beer or two, I'm sure he would love to talk to you about Philadelphia. So
I would love to. I can tell you all about the best food in the world.
It's true. I've been to Philly several times, and I do love Philly food. Best in the world. Chicago style pizza kind of just like puts everyone else to rest. So I'd have
y'all
to
need
say,
to go to New Orleans.
It's true. I've never been to New Orleans, so
give me a shrimp po' boy all day. Let's go.
So I guess the one thing, there's two questions I still have on this COVID topic. So, what was going through your guys' mind outside of dealing with the flu and that stuff? What was going through your mind back on, what would it have been, March 11th, 12th, 13th, when things started to happen? Both of you separately wrote me. Pretty much, even though you weren't in your flat at that time together, you were in two different places. Both of you almost at the same time wrote me messages pretty much like, hey, things are going south. Can we just get out of here? So what was going through your mind at the start of all this? And what was going through their mind when this was all going down at the beginning?
Well, I mean, I'll go first. Well, what was going through my mind was when they announced, I thought I was going to stay there for a couple of weeks and, everything would be all right. And when they announced that they were closing the borders, I was like, whoa, this is getting really serious. So I was like, I don't know how long this could last. And, it could last over a couple of months. And I know, if I couldn't get a flight, I know that they weren't stopping American flights to get home. But I was just like, you know what? I don't have a job over here. They're shutting everything down. The Lions paid for got me everything that I got at this point. So I just didn't want to be stuck, and I didn't want to, be a burden on the organization, on you guys, even though I know you guys would have let me come stay at your house, Suki, if you're watching. You told me in the car. But no, I just didn't want to really be stuck. I didn't want to be a burden on anybody, and I could get home. So where I knew that I could quarantine for however long and not go nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, Mike, do fill everybody in, because that's Dylan and you were at some point going to be heading back to the States. So you guys had tickets. We tried to get your ticket straightened out. First off, it didn't work. So what happened with just fill people in quick with the ordeal that we went through trying to get you back to the States?
Oh man. So as soon as they booked a flight, and I was talking to my parents and everything. Like, I had the money to buy my own flight home, but I also had like I was going to fly home for my sister's wedding, which was actually supposed to be last weekend, 2 weekends ago. And I was trying to use my flight credit for that. So I was like, wait, hold up. So I figured that out, and I figured that I couldn't. So Zach was telling me, and I was talking to my parents, and my parents were like, no, we're getting you out now. They were freaking out, especially my mom, but
that's what moms do.
They bought me a flight. Zach had originally bought me a flight, and as soon as I went to the airport, it got canceled. Or as soon as I went to the airport to go check in, like 2 days before I left, it got canceled, Lufthansa. And I was like, now I'm freaking out. Because I was like, what? Is everything going to get canceled? And then I told my parents, and they're like, yo, just book a flight now. So I was like, all right, well, we're going to figure this out. We booked the flight, and then we had to cancel it because they found a flight that was even better and cheaper. So that's what we went with, and it was just absolute chaos before I got when they started canceling flights, it was just absolute chaos, and they were scrambling. We were scrambling, and it was just like, honestly, it was like chickens running without heads on. So
we ended up finding you a flight.
Yeah.
You left a couple hours after the other guys, and and where'd you fly through, and how that work out?
Oh man, it was the only thing that they could have found me too. I flew to Madrid. I stayed in Madrid for 14 hours. It was overnight too, so it was 14 hours. I got there at 9 p.m. I didn't have a flight again until no, I got there at 7 p.m. I didn't have a flight again until 9 a.m. the next morning. So I was in there just sleeping on the ground. I looked like a homeless dude, but but I had to get dinner. So the only thing that was open was a baguette place. So I got like 2 baguettes, and I couldn't taste or smell anything at the time. So I was just like, I don't know if they're good. I'm just hungry. So I ate it and slept on the ground.
Yeah.
I was taking NyQuil.
And yeah, so y'all know when we had to change Mike's flights, it was the last place I would have wanted him to fly through, outside of maybe Milano or someplace like that. But like it was nuts. It was a crazy few days. I think I might have lost a couple days of my life through those days. Last question in this, Dylan. Since you're the only guy that's in the Lions that's been tested positive, and you're 28 and fit and no prior conditions and whatever. What do you have to say just about this in general? Of course, briefly, because I know there's a lot we could say, but because one of the things that you've read this and you've even reacted to it, is a lot of people like blowing this off, saying this thing, it doesn't mean anything. It can't affect me because I'm young, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, looking at the numbers in the States, it's definitely kind of taken mutation stateside, and it's hitting way more young people than it is anywhere else in the world. So what would you just have to say as somebody who was coughing up blood and was admitted to the hospital about this?
Yeah, just follow the guidelines that they've been putting out. The quarantine is definitely useful, and apparently people in Philadelphia don't think so, but everywhere else, it's obviously showed that when you quarantine, and if you're feeling any kind of symptoms, avoid all the people that are elderly that you might be putting at risk. And obviously now there is things going on. I was just reading this morning that people are having strokes that are in their 20s and 30s and they're testing positive for COVID, which is, obviously that's scary, because then it's mutated into something else that, I don't know. Obviously, this is going to be going on for a while. So just having dealt with it, I was just drinking smoothies. I was just getting vitamin C, doing anything I could to try and help my immune system battle, before I knew what it was. Obviously we thought I had the flu. So I was just trying to, hey, what can I do to help my immune system out? So, they're saying zinc might be able to be helpful. I don't know. I just feel if you're young, you can still obviously get it and have some symptoms, or that can be pretty severe, obviously. So you just need to help your body and help everyone else around you. Isolate yourself, quarantine, drink lots of fluids, and just, I don't know. That's really all I know. Just follow the guidelines that are given out, like I've said, and do everything you can to help yourself out too.
Yeah, thanks for adding that, because today I was talking to another import here in Europe that is here year round. He's already reestablished himself pretty much over here, or established himself rather. And him and I were talking today, just catching up, and he was telling me a neighbor and a friend back home who was 38, so a year younger than me, no prior conditions, nothing. It got like slow developing stuff, and then it just accelerated quick, and he had a stroke, and he was tested for COVID after. So that's just, it's funny, because I even read stuff about that today and was actually talking to somebody about that today. So through all this, be safe, be patient. Let's try to get this thing behind us as soon as possible. So let's get this, at least as far as that conversation this evening here in Prague, behind us. So we got some questions later, but if you're watching right now, I have the questions going here on Facebook, so you could chime in. You could write a question if you have for the guys there. We'll hit it at some point. But let's get into some stuff that's not about COVID, even though that's the only reason we're actually talking tonight. Because right now we should have just been finishing a U19 practice, and we'd be on our way back to your guys' sweet swaggy flat in Zhishkov, and I would have been racing home to try to help my wife put our kids to sleep. But that's obviously not happening. So let's move on from COVID. But hey, so Prague Lions, Mike, this would have been your second season. Dylan, this would have been your first. One of the questions that came up on some of the social media stuff today was, why Prague and why the Lions?
Well, I'll go first because I have experience answering this question. Why Prague? I mean, Prague. Why the second? Would you say why the second season for me, or why in general?
Why in general?
Why in general? Prague is beautiful. First of all, second of all, I love playing the sport of football, and at that time, you guys were the only team that I was working full time. You guys were the only team that contacted me. So, but that's not the only reason. Like, if another team contacted me from the middle of nowhere, and I would have been like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But no, I think Prague is absolutely beautiful. I talked to you guys. You guys, helped me ease through that process of being recruited and everything. And, talking to you guys, I felt comfortable going there. So that was really the reason why I came back the second season, because I absolutely love my experience there, and I love everybody in the organization, and all my teammates, everybody was coming back. I heard all the new imports. I was like, you know what, let's do this again. And we just won a championship, so I kind of wanted to repeat.
Yeah, no, I got chills at that last part, Mike. It's been hard sitting here in this office for 46 days or 47 days and contemplating all this stuff. But Dylan, how about you? So you had played 3 seasons prior up in Denmark. We won't talk about that up there because Dylan and his team did beat the Prague Lions in 2016. That isn't a topic we're going to talk about tonight. But
we don't need to talk about it. Let's talk about here now.
Why Prague? And yeah, so why would you have come back here this year? Why did you come to here this year? And hopefully, why will you be coming back? Hopefully in the near future.
Well, shoot, just off the bat, just you and Dan right away. Just having spoken with you, obviously, previously, just building a relationship, based off of our faith, a lot of things that we have in common, both have 2 kids right around the same ages. Just really felt like we had that good connection right away. Like you were a good, older than me, but you're still young, that we have the same kind of mentality.
Which by the way, Mike, I'm happy you don't have 2 kids that are Dylan's kid's age and my kid's age. Just at least that we know about. So I'm happy that's the case.
There you go. You have to add that in there.
There's a Mike Hayes Jr. running around somewhere.
Hopefully not. I hope for the good of the world that doesn't happen for some time.
That's
too soon.
That's comedy. And then so obviously right away I felt a connection with you. Like you could be a good mentor for me, moving abroad and doing things like that, because I had a plan to move abroad. And then obviously Coach Dish, I've known him since 2011. Absolutely love the guy, great coach. I was ready to, my time in Denmark was great, but I was ready to be coached again. And I was the coach while I was there. So I was ready to, just to be a player and just being able to, be coached and learn and do something like that, as I'm aging, I guess, in the European football scene. A lot of these younger cats are coming up. It's good to, how can I improve myself? By being coached, so, and then obviously, you guys won the championship last year. I've won 3 championships in Europe. I wanted to help be a part of building the dynasty that you guys already had going on. And then why Prague? I mean, like Mike said, just looking at the city, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's real centralized, a great location. You can really travel anywhere you want from Prague. And, it's obviously the cost of living is cheaper than most of Europe, especially Denmark, which was just absurd. So, it really seemed like the perfect fit, the relationships, the team where you guys were at and where you were headed, the city, the location, just really was, in my opinion, it just was really where God was calling me to be, and was just the perfect storm of kind of, hey, I think this is going to be someplace that we're going to be able to make a run for a while, not just for the 2020 season where I thought we were going to absolutely, I don't want to, I don't want to trigger anyone that's listening from other teams, but I really didn't see anybody beating us at all. Like we were going to.
As the head coach of the team, I kind of had to take a neutral position in this. I will say I did say this in a podcast that was done by Radim and Chaff here, that this is probably this team we had together this spring was the best team that I think had here in my tenure with the Lions in general. So I will say that.
That's all that needs to be said then.
That's it. So, all right. So, Dylan, you didn't have a ton of time here. Mike certainly had more time here, but what was your favorite Czech meal while you were here? Like Czech meal, because let's be honest, for all of you that are watching this out there, if you don't know Rest in Podoli, it is one of the top restaurants in the city. Our guys are stinking spoiled, and they get to eat there regularly. So not talking about like just Rest dishes, because I know Mike could talk about that, and Mike probably has a library on his phone designated to Rest dishes. But what is your favorite Czech meal? And I'd be interested to see if you actually pronounce it right, if it's an actual Czech word.
I really ate at Rest every time. Did I eat anything that was Czech, like considered Czech food? I'm not sure, actually, because I went to eat with, the guys. We went to they were telling me about the ground beef, that's raw ground beef, and they were like, "Yo, you really got to try it, man. It's way better than you think." So I was planning on trying it before everything happened, obviously, but I don't know if I ate pretty much every meal that they had to offer at Rest, I feel like. So I loved all of it. So if one of those is just a traditional Czech meal, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to go back and check the menu for that. No, Mike's been thinking this whole time. So Mike, what?
Well, first of all, everything that I've ever had from Rest is good. Everything. It's actually phenomenal. Not just the food, the beer is phenomenal, the coffee's phenomenal, service is phenomenal, and you're just part of the family there. So, I would have to say the best meal that I had there was after each win last year. Not each win, just a couple wins, like big wins, was the swordfish with I think it was pea puree as well as some lentils on it. So it was absolutely incredible. That I'm telling you, I literally had nothing there that I ever disliked.
I believe you because Mikhail Kozlicek, the owner of Rest, he had often complained that I would only eat one thing when I was there. So he always was trying to get me to eat other things, and he has constantly surprised me, and I have eaten many things that normally I wouldn't have eaten there because
there was this one day, it was before the semifinal game versus Visicina. Me and Griffin were sitting at the table and just, water. And he comes over and he just says, "Hey, it's a very special day. Would you like a full fillet of fish?" And I looked at him. I looked at the menu. I was like, that's pretty expensive. That's pretty expensive. He said, "Are you sure?" He said, "This is a special day." I said, "You know what? Slap it on there." Yes, absolutely. So one of the waitresses came over with two full fishes. I'd never seen it before. Never seen it before in my life. Two full fishes and filleted it on the plate for both of us and just slapped two full fillets on the plate, fresh fillet, and that was incredible. That was a lunch. That was incredible.
Well, if those of you are out there watching, this wasn't supposed to be an advertisement for Rest. Um, we do love Rest. We do recommend you go there. We throughout this have doing hashtag support your local, which was pretty much a way where we prepaid a bunch of meals to Rest to help them out through the time and everything going on with just having no business. And they took meals to the hospital here in town for doctors and nurses that were on the front lines at the peak of it here in Czech. So, yeah. So, but okay. So the next question about just Prague and stuff is, what do you think were the biggest differences, cultural differences between America and the Czech Republic?
That's tough. I was only
there
there
a song
for 10
from
days.
Jeopardy. I know you're only here for a week and a half, so
Right. I'm like, that's a tough one for me to even answer. Like, I don't know. I've never ridden public
being from
transport so much in my
Philadelphia, I think
entire life.
everybody was just so much nicer.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy it.
I think everybody was just so nice. Everybody was just so personable. You could say hi, like Dobrý den, and Jak se máš, something Czech, and they would be like, they would smile and say hi to you. You know what I mean? They wouldn't, and you could some people wouldn't let me pet their dog, which I was upset about. But when I could pet a dog,
thing here.
What's that?
Dogs are a serious thing. You don't mess with people's dogs.
I know, but when I could pet the dog, everybody loved it. You know, it was I just thought the people there were incredible. And
traditionally Czechs are known for being rather cold. So the fact that you're saying that is heartwarming to me, especially because you're obviously around our team and people associated with the team. So that's pretty cool.
I'm used to that. They're just sarcastic. They're very sarcastic, and I love it.
Well, see, so that's the difference. Like, when I think of cold, I think of the Danes, because, like, in Denmark, you can't have small talk with anybody. Like, if you go to a bus stop, everyone's socially distanced already. Like, that's just their thing. Like, they're like, you can't stand within an arm's reach of me or I'm uncomfortable. So
that's actually why I've seen something that the COVID has spread far less in Scandinavian countries because they already do social distancing.
They already do it. Exactly. They're already social. They're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Just let me mind my own business over here. So, yeah,
it's funny you say that because in Prague at least, everybody's forced to be close because of the public transportation system.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
I worked as the bus host, the tour guide, and I would get on that thing during peak hours when everybody's getting off and going to work or everybody's coming from work, and I would be in there squeezed in a sardine.
Can.
And I'm just like, I'm looking at everybody like next to me, like almost breathing on each other. And I'm just like, Dobrý den. And they would say it back.
Well, you definitely Prague is definitely, I'd say, different than the rest of the country. I do love the rest of the country. Obviously, I've been here so long, and my wife's not from Prague and spent much time outside of the city, but that's definitely has an influence. But and then what do you think is the biggest difference between football? Mike will say football between the U.S. and your experience, obviously playing at college, and then here, and then Dylan, you could answer that too. But I mean, you also have another country's experience, and yeah. So, what's the difference, Mike? You could start.
Between the football? The biggest difference I noticed was probably not everybody has to show up for practice. That was my biggest difference. But other than that,
can we rephrase that to not everybody does always show up to practice, because now putting my head coach hat on, they all should be at stinking practice.
Oh no, I know that. Rephrase that. Everybody doesn't show up. Everybody doesn't show up for practice every time. That was my biggest transition over to European football. But the talent's there. I see the talent. The talent's there. the U.S. guys have more experience. They grew up with it. They've been playing since they were 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 15 years old. But that's tackle football. I've been playing tackle football since I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that the biggest difference was the talent's there, the athleticism's there. Biggest difference was the practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the growth of the game, really. Yeah, like,
yeah.
we're instilled in it since, like, we're kids. Like you said, been playing tackle football since you're whatever, 6, 7, 8 years old. So obviously, it's growing in Europe, so it's going to start obviously producing better. But yeah, and then obviously athletics as a whole, I feel like in Europe, unless you're a soccer player, aren't as serious as they are in the United States. If you participate in any sport in the U.S., it's like, that's what you do pretty much.
Yeah.
If you're running track, that's what you do. If you're a basketball guy, that's it. So I feel like the seriousness as a whole is one of the things. And obviously, everyone should be at practice, but in college, the difference is you don't really have a choice. You're on scholarship. You're going to lose it if you don't show up. Get your butt to practice, or we're going to have problems. So, you're forced to get there, but obviously we all should be at practice because you want to get better. You better yourself, you better the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest difference between Denmark and, just being with the Lions. I was there for 4 practices, but we already had better turnout to practice than I ever did with the Razorbacks. And, that's not a knock on the Razorbacks. We did have a smaller team than you guys, but also, the guys didn't always want to, I had days where we had 14 guys at practice. It's like we can't even do anything, I can't even do half line. Half of our guys are O linemen. We have one quarterback and a receiver, and then a bunch of O line, D line. Okay, what am I going to do? Inside run, cool. So definitely, I feel like the Czechs took the game, a little more serious in the aspect that they want to be at practice. They want to learn that part of it, and also the guys definitely not all of my guys in Denmark were working out, staying in shape, doing all the extra stuff in the off season. And I felt like a majority of the guys with the Lions were at least hitting the weights, and that's not a knock on my guys with the Razorbacks. We can ball. We had a bunch of, great football players, but, just the seriousness of the game might not have been there for them as opposed to the Lions. And that's obviously something that's instilled by the coach, and that's instilled by, the program from top to bottom. So, that's just one thing that I definitely noticed in my short time with you guys, as opposed to my time with the Razorbacks.
Well, I'll agree with that.
And that's actually a good segue just about the next topic. Bundle of questions are under the subheading, the season that wasn't. So for those of you that are out there, I'm not going to be a host of the show for a minute, but I'll be the head coach. Yeah, what Dylan's speaking of, our attendance, we had never had the attendance at our preseason practices like we had this year. I think, yeah, I mean, we were at the lowest. I think we were at our average last year of practice for practices at one night. So something definitely good was going on here. I was really blown away at our practice attendance. But what were you guys? Dylan already jumped the gun a little bit on this, but what were you guys' thoughts just coming into this season? Dylan mentioned a little bit earlier just the strength of the team he saw. But let's just dig into that a little bit. So, Mike, and this was actually one of the questions that was asked by Evan on Instagram, just about the weapons that you had on offense and how you saw the offensive developing. And then Dylan, obviously that's a good question for you and the defense too. So what we'll start with this time, Dylan, because we started with Mike before.
Well, so from the get, obviously, we've got Coach Dish as the defensive coordinator, and like we all talk about, he's probably forgotten more football than we all know. So the guy's just knowledge of the game. So just having him, behind the scenes, not even behind the scenes because he's obviously the loudest guy on the side, when he's MFing people and all that. But just having him be the centerpiece of the defense is huge. And then just the pieces around it, I mean, like the front seven was I mean, we had a college front seven, in my opinion. You know, we had two great D tackles. We had a rotation of guys that we could play at defensive end, and then obviously our linebacking core was going to be really good. So, you know, my time in Denmark, I never had a defensive line that I was about to have this year, and I was pretty pumped. And then, you know, I mean, obviously, I think the secondary, Coach Dish is coaching those guys. We were going to be, I don't know. I just don't want. I'm going to offend people, but I just didn't see anybody scoring on us, and I saw us scoring a lot of points, point blank. That's really. I thought it was going to be a lot. You know, we could have competed with GFL teams 100%.
Gets me fired up, but also gets me a little sad.
Yeah.
But it is what it is at this point. It is what it is at this point. But Mike, what would you add? I guess Dylan, segue good into your answer there.
I thought that we were going to average 50 points.
Which last year's average was what, 41, I believe?
41 last year's average. I thought we were going to average at least 50 this year, and that's if our starters played the whole game.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, because we had all of our wide receiver core back. We had Will, who's just an absolute stud in the backfield, and he could play wide receiver as well. You know, slot receiver. And we also had, you know, even more guys show up, because we had and who had talent. You know, I could throw to them. We didn't have Pepe last year, and Pepe would have been an absolute stud this year if the season happened, you know, in the slot. And but just having that and having an extra weapon in the backfield, and plus our offensive line came back. We even had our offensive line turnout at practice was incredible to me. I was looking at it, I was like, whoa, this is such a transition from last year. And we had new guys, big guys up front that could just move bodies. So I didn't see us not scoring on every drive.
Yeah. And you had you slinging the rock and Zach calling the plays. It was a bang, bang, bang. Like, come on.
It's just –
I think one of my
guys, and that was it.
Yeah, I think one of I was talking to somebody, and I actually recounted a story from Will and from training camp where we had already installed all of our base stuff right before training camp, which I've never had done here, and we're at training camp already digging into stuff 5 weeks before the first game, doing some prep for them, and Will looks at me and says, It's like you're going to be playing Madden this year, isn't it? With the play calling. And I looked down and I'm like, heck yeah. So I agree with that 100%. But what are just some of the observations you also saw of where the club was right now as opposed to last year for you, Mike? And just Dylan, of course, if you want to make some comparisons with what you've seen from Denmark in general there or whatnot, feel free. Dylan froze up on us. I don't know if you could still hear me.
I think so. Yeah, it looks like he said bye. No, I think he froze up on us. Yeah, he might have to leave. And come back, but
maybe he'll join us again.
Well, I'm sorry. Repeat the question, please.
Just observations as far as the club goes, the management level, the team as a whole, as opposed to last year.
I would say the motivation that the club had to, you know, become elite and become such a great force in. Whoa! Did you lose me?
No, we're good.
Okay. And to be such a great force in Europe, and just the level of competition that they wanted to be at, I think that was what's motivating. I mean, that was that was a huge factor in, you know, me coming back, because I saw where the organization was going. Lions were a great organization to start off with, but the stuff that made me excited was all the things that you were telling me, like, this is what we can do, this is what we got, this is what we're getting, you know. So that was one of the main things that that brought me back. as well, because I was contacted by multiple teams to come over there, and they're pretty good offers, but I just saw where the lines were going, and and I loved the city of Prague, so I came back to Prague.
Yeah, no, and even though it was just for a couple of weeks, this go around, we're excited, and hopefully you're back here sooner than later. Which obviously there's been no decisions made, and everything is always changing here in Prague, and nobody really knows what's going on in the last 5 days. Though. Very true, very true. Well, we lost Dylan, so Dylan's off the call completely now, so hopefully he gets back in here. But we'll move on. So we only got it's 43. We would like wrapping this up around 10 o'clock here. So if you were to, Mike, if you were to talk with the guy back in the States right now who should be finishing up university, right? I can't imagine being a college student at this point in your last year or something. It'd be insane, right? But what would you tell a guy in the States who's got the talent to play over in Europe? Because let's be honest, like, even though lots of guys can play over in Europe, there's lots of guys in the States that play smaller college football like you and I played that probably don't belong over here, right? But there's a lot of guys who do belong over here who could compete over here. Welcome back, Dylan.
My phone overheated.
There's that Florida heat. Oh, no.
All of a sudden it just went red, and I had the thermostat on. It was like temperature overheat. I'm like, oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, no. Well, welcome back. So the question, Mike answering the question will fill you in, but it's pretty much, what would you tell a college senior or a guy in the States that has the talent to play over here? Why not, right? Why should he come over and play? Not just for us in general, to Europe.
Well,
to me, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess it depends on the individual, because if you've got a shot to play in the NFL or the CFL, obviously,
of course. Yeah.
But if you're looking to play still and make a difference, going to Europe is the best option. Like Mike said, it's a no-brainer. You get to come over, you get to help whatever program you might go play for grow. You get to help coach the guys. The knowledge, like Mike was saying earlier, the athleticism's there. Anywhere you go in Europe, there's going to be athletes. There's going to be guys that can play. It's just really getting them, helping instill, what the game can do for you. And, I really feel like, this year was going to be a huge year for the European American football scene, because it felt like, the game was really at a boiling point. Zach, we talked about this before I even got out there, that it was kind of, things are starting to really heat up. The kids are getting recruited more from out there. More college kids are noticing that there's football outside of the United States. Just to be able to experience other cultures and travel and do something that, like, before I went to Europe, I never imagined being able to travel the world playing American football. So, it gives you that opportunity to just experience something different, and, just really will grow you as a person. And, like yourself ending up staying there, there's a lot of Americans that just fall in love with it, fall in love with the cultures that they move into, and want to really help make a difference. And, why not? If you want to keep playing football and you want to, leave your mark somewhere, I highly suggest going to play overseas. There's opportunities all over Europe, all over, Brazil, Mexico, Japan. There's leagues everywhere that people can look into to be able to continue to play the game that we love and help grow the sport.
Very true. If somebody would have ever told me that I'd be sitting here in 2020 with a Czech wife and 2 little Czech American kids, I would never have believed that person. Never. I didn't even barely knew the Czech Republic existed. So it is funny, and there are a group of guys over here that I know that are just here, and sometimes it's dangerous, which also could be one reason why some guys, if you're scared about maybe just ending up forever in a foreign country, maybe it's not for you. But you don't know if you don't try. So, well, with that said, what would be, if you guys were to, and before I ask this next question, for those of you who are watching, ask these guys some questions. Ask myself some questions. We'd love to answer your questions. Share it in the comments below. But just what would you guys thinking about living overseas? What would be your funniest memory? Let's keep it clean, because there could still be kids up. Let's keep it PG-13 at least. But
I'll try.
Your funniest experience, just in general, not connected with football specifically, because that's going to be the next one.
Not connected with football. Because, like, the Danes do some funny stuff. So, like, we did this thing called the Tunnel of Love. And if it was your birthday, you had to put your pants down, and crawl. Everyone would stand with their legs apart, and you'd crawl through their tunnel, and they'd smack you on the butt. So, I remember my first year there. My birthday was on the day that we played the Copenhagen Towers, who were the defending champs in 2015. And I had a red mohawk, and I had a skeleton painted on my face with an eye black. I was just being extra, just for fun. And, of course, we beat them on their field at their stadium. And then they go, "Oh, Dylan's birthday, Tunnel of Love," after the game, as the whole crowd is watching. The whole other team is walking off the field with an L. And I get down and crawl through, and everyone smacks me on the butt. And I couldn't sit down for the rest of the bus ride 3 hours back to Vila. I was like, just standing like, this is miserable. Why did I agree to this? But at least we got the win. So so that was kind of funny. The Danes think it's hilarious.
So that was a little PG-13.
That definitely was PG-13.
Yeah.
Danish men smacking dudes on the butt.
I tried to keep it, whatever. PG-13, yeah, okay.
All right, well, my funniest moment with football, I mean, I can't think of anything funnier than this happening. I've just never seen it before. Was when we had those, what are they called, the wild cheerleaders?
Yeah.
When we were in the huddle after we just won a game, and I look back, and a referee is getting picked up by all 5 of them, and like he's like sprawled out like in a star and just getting spun around. I lost it.
Yeah,
why did I miss
Dylan, if you want, you can go back in our Instagram feed. You'll see it there.
I have a picture that I can send you, Dylan, of it in the background of what was going on. Dish took it. Dish took the picture. He was like, "I never seen that before." It was immediately after the game. He was still in his uniform, and so were the cheerleaders, but they picked him up, and they were just spinning him around. I couldn't focus on what they were saying. I was losing my mind.
Could you imagine that in a college game?
That would be a staple for somebody, because it actually needs to be a staple for the Lions, honestly. Yeah, whoever
I'll be honest,
the flag, the cheerleaders got to pick them up and spin them around.
I'll be honest, I had never seen that in my 15 years here in Prague. I've never seen it.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
I'll fill you guys in, because I don't think either of you have heard this. It was in connection to one of my very first practices here. This would have been back in 2004. What grade would you guys have been in 2004?
I was in 8th grade.
I was in 4th grade.
And I was a 24-year-old over here playing football. So that makes me feel old. Anyway, I had been learning the Czech language. I had already started, and I was working really hard at it. At that point, I was an intern with my organization, so I only took 2 classes a week, so it's just 2 hours a week. And I had learned what I thought was the way to say "I am warm," because it was very hot outside. So it was our first hot practice. So I said, all of our Czechs, they'll be happy you could hear some Czech now. I said, "Ja jsem teplý," which is literally "I am warm." And I said it throughout the practice, and my teammates laughed at me, and I'm like, why is that funny? Like, what's the deal? And then all of a sudden, at the end of the practice, Martin Kocian, who's now the head coach in Graz with the Giants, one of my teammates stopped and said, "Hey, coach," this was translated to me. "Hey, coach, Zach learned a new phrase today. Ask him about it." So in front of my 40-some teammates, I said, "Ja sam teplý," and that it means I'm gay in Czech. So I had been telling my Czech teammates for about an hour and a half of the whole practice, and I would have been there just for about 6 weeks at that point. I had been telling them very
you feel
fervently,
comfortable around us.
Yeah, that's right.
that I was indeed gay.
That's comedy.
So then Martin asked me, which I'm sure threw both of you off at the start, right? They asked me. He said "fucked," which we as Americans, we hear "fucked" and we think somebody's dropping the F-bomb on us, and I just want to be like,
Right.
what? Why are you swearing at me? But then he's saying really. So I'm working through this in my head, and I'm like, then it dawns on me what I said. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I promise, I'm not. It was already too late. So
I got story like that, but it's a little bit more rated R.
Yeah, let's hold off on that. That's
Just let you guys
once
know,
you get back
taking
here.
L again. I'm on 4%, so the Zoom.
Well, we're wrapping up here soon anyway. So Adam Masopoulos wrote a question that we answered. So Adam, if you're still watching, once we're done, the guys already answered the question, what's the difference between football here and in the States? You can look back at that. But so far, there's no other questions other than Kuba Yechny writing, of course. Are we going to ask the questions from Instagram? So here's Kuba Yechny's Instagram question.
Kuba.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you miss Kuba Yechny? Mike said 10, or was that Dylan?
That was me.
Oh, that was a laugh. That was a laugh. Kuba.
Well, hey.
Kuba, I miss you 10 out of 10, buddy.
Facts.
You and tell Philip the same thing. Fiku. And
Hey,
he's going to be so happy that I shout him out with that. Because every time I say, Kuba, I miss you, buddy, he looks at me, Philip, he goes, what about me?
Well, I gotta fill you in of just something that this isn't public knowledge completely. It's public knowledge. We shared it on his story, but we had a Jeopardy quiz night during our virtual pub a couple weekends ago, and Philip and Kuba were there, and being brothers, they were both super competitive, and Philip was like, I'm not gonna win this. I don't know much about football. I've only played 2 years, and Philip ended up destroying him, like 1,000-some plus points, and Kuba had like minus 3,000 and whatnot. So yeah.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Fiku, you're the man, brother.
We know which one of the Yechny brothers is the better player and the smarter player. I love Kuba to death, but
He's got that hockey background.
I'm waiting for Kuba to chime in.
I'm giving you a shout out for K Noah because that sweater is dope.
Isn't it sweet? See, what you guys don't know is
the hat well perfectly too.
These guys both are Kano ambassadors with myself too. I'm actually going to be intro tomorrow, so you guys know. And unfortunately, they're in the States, so they couldn't get their swag bags until they get back here. So hopefully that will happen very, very soon in the near future. But guys, this stuff is legit. You should order some of the team stuff for your family. They are sending it over there. But yeah, this stuff will be available once you guys get back here. But anyway, Kuba did chime in. He wrote 10. He said, I miss you about 11, just so you know.
Yeah,
Kuba, I do miss you too. But Kuba and I chat regularly about a variety of topics on a near daily basis. So
that's it. Yaranats.
Yeah, good. Kuba is also making excuses why he lost in Jeopardy because he was playing on his phone and he wasn't using a computer. So,
right.
So guys, we're about ready to wrap up here, and we might lose Dylan at any point. But if you have any other questions, for those of you who are watching, fill us in, write them right now, because if not, we will say goodbye.
Sending my
We'll
love
give
to
people-
the Prague Lions, all my family
We'll-
out there. Love you
We'll
guys.
give
Wish
people-
we were balling right now. Don't we all?
We do. We do.
But stay safe, stay healthy. I'll be back out there shortly, hopefully. Mike, I know
For
too,
sure.
because Mike, you still owe me a tour of the rest of the city, man. We didn't get to see
I
the
know.
rest of the
I gotta
stuff,
get you to
so,
the castle, bro.
man, got to.
Dylan, you were here. Oh man, that's just irritating. You were here and you didn't even get up to the castle.
Didn't get to the castle. No, come on.
Freaking
So there's
COVID,
still so
I
much to
hate you.
see.
I just
I
hate this
got. I'm
COVID
going to
deal.
the Zhuzhkov Tower, though.
Did see
Well, hey.
that. Yeah.
The thing that us Pražáci probably hate the most, you took him there. So hey, that's good.
It's the most beautiful building in Prague.
Mike, you might be losing fans saying that. Bro.
Damn.
Well, hey, last Dylan already gave a shout out, but it looks like we don't have any other questions. Anything you guys like to say before we go?
Deset pivo, prosím.
Deset peeve.
Deset piv.
It's
Okay.
actually
Ciao,
genitive.
ciao, moje láskas.
It's genitive plural, so it's a second case, and you have to, if you hit over 5, you have to
Go
shorten
ahead,
it.
teach me. Moje láskas.
So it'd be jedno pivo,
Jedno
dvě
pivo,
piva.
prosím. Dvě piva. Ší
tři
piv.
piva,
Ší piva.
čtyři piva,
4 piva.
and then once you hit 5 and up, it turns into pět piv or
Piv. 5 piv. 4 piv.
no, čtyři
We've
piva.
got check 101 going on right now, too.
I'm done. All right, I'm done.
Hey, you guys be safe there. And just so you know, I love you both. I'm super grateful for you guys being part of our organization. And I'm hoping that in 2001, 2000, who knows, we'll see you guys rocking those sweet new K Noah jerseys and just and picking up where we left off. So thanks for taking some time out in your afternoons there in the midst of work and everything to talk with us and share with us tonight. Before I leave, I just wanted to run through our sponsors real quick. So if you guys will bear with me, we just need to do this. And if you had anything to add, I will kind of do this in Czech, but, you know, feel free to add in. Takže jako chtěli bychom poděkovat našim sponsorům. Růžek a syn, nejlepší autodoprava v Praze prostě. Jestli hledáte autobus, oni jsou jako jediná možnost prostě. Takže zavolejte jim. CZ a prostě jestli potřebujete něco s elektroinstalací, oni jsou špičkoví a jsou skvělí. Takže moc poděkujeme Eleb a Blahovce. Takže Good Laundry. Já musím jako přiznat, že jako měli jsme chvíli v History Lions, když já jsem musel prát nějaký dresy doma. Jsem rád, že už vůbec nemusím prát nic doma díky tomu skvělému partnerovi. Takže Fresh Point Pizza, jestli chcete nejlepší pizza prostě v Praze, já bylím skoro za rohem, je to tam. What would you guys have to say about Fresh Point Pizza if you were to
Fresh
just
Point
chime
Pizza
in
is
quick?
banging.
And you guys had it set up where you're going to be able to get Fresh Point Pizza regularly.
I know. We did kind of.
Yeah, you did. You did. So, and I know Dylan had Fresh Greek. It's around the corner. To je za rohem od Fresh Pointu. Za mě nejlepší Greek a Řecko prostě v Česku. Dylan, what did you think about Fresh Greek? Was Dylan still with us even?
I don't know.
I don't
no,
think he
he's
is.
not.
Mike, did you hit Fresh Greek while you were here?
I didn't have. Unfortunately, I didn't have Fresh Greek, but I only heard good things from Dylan.
Oh, man, I'll be honest. One of the reasons Coach got a little fatter before I started working out coming into the season was because of Fresh Greek. It is some good food. Czech visa help. Okay, when Victor does this every week, we say it in Czech, which is funny because anybody who would need Czech visa help probably wouldn't be able to understand us speaking in Czech. So I'll do it tonight in English. Mike really didn't have an opportunity to interact with Ondra. It really was just via email, right, Mike? I don't think you got to the point where you met Ondra, did you?
Nope.
Well, if you're out there and you're watching this and you need any visa help or you need a great service, look up Czech Visa Help and Ondra. He's a former player of ours. He played quarterback for us in the 2013 season behind Garrett Mitter. And he's just a great guy, and he's super knowledgeable, and he's actually been helping me in the process of getting myself business license, my Živno, and some other stuff in the process of us being in a lockdown pandemic, trying to work with offices that are closed. It's always fun, right? New era. Okay, Mike, you don't have, I don't know where the new era hat you got, but you and I were the two of the first people repping our new era hats. This is one of them. Before they hit in Prague. So do you still have that hat, or did you lose it in the effort to get out of Prague quick?
Dylan has it.
Dylan walked with the hat, huh?
Yes, he did.
Well, it was a sweet hat, and I actually haven't picked up one of those myself. So, pokud sledujete tohle a chcete koupit jednu nebo tři, protože máme 3 varianty našich nových čepic, můžete okamžitě objednat přes snapex.cz a brzo budeme sdílet více na našich sociálních sítích prostě o tom, kde a jak můžete koupit ty skvělé čepice Prague Lions od New Ery. K Noah, I think we already kind of did a little prep for K Noah, but Mike, how excited were you for those new jerseys? Without sharing any details, because they're still kind of quiet and secretive.
Well, I saw the design. Like. I was really hyped for them, and all the stuff and all the gear that you had. You know, yeah. I picked that out. I worked really hard. I was actually just in touch with Ben, I think, and and I was so excited to get all the stuff. It was new gear.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
It was awesome. All the designs, everything, the apparel, the quality of it.
He sent my family and I 2 boxes of stuff. One was the normal ambassador box, and then the other was just, hey, thanks for what you do box, Zach. And my boys got 2 little jerseys, some Prague Lions swag. So special just for them. And so he's a great guy. It's great stuff. They actually just released all this streetwear, so you could go on knoa.at and you can find streetwear up there and order like this swaggy hoodie, which I have been wearing nonstop. And then our last is Vanguard. Mike, what do you have to say about Vanguard? Because Vanguard made last year special for us.
Oh man, Vanguard made especially during the championship, Vanguard absolutely killed it for us. We wouldn't have been able to really do all the things that we did without Vanguard. They helped us out tremendously, and that was, you know, within the comfortable stay in the hotel. I don't think we would have been as successful. I don't think we might not have won the championship without Vanguard last year for the championship.
I agree with you completely. I made a shout out to them in an interview after the championship last year, and I said, pretty much it was actually a blessing for us that we were outside of Prague, and we got Vanguard as a sponsor so that we could be in an air conditioned. At least I think your room and my room was air conditioned. I found out after the fact not everybody had air conditioning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Being in an air-conditioned room, have that time for us as a team, and yeah, Vanguard is great. Takže jestli ještě jste nerozuměli, o čem mluvíme, jako prostě Vanguard začali nás sponsorovat minulý rok před finálem a díky ním jsme mohli jet o den dřív do Ostravy a bydlet v hotelu, být spolu jako tým, a to byl jeden z hlavních klíčových důvodů, proč jsme vyhráli podle Mike a podle mě. Takže tak. So Mike, that's all for tonight.
Okay. All right. No, I appreciate you having me on here. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun catching up.
It's been fun catching up, and hopefully folks out there enjoyed it too. Yishi, Big George just wrote, come back soon, guys. We have work to do. So
That's right. He's right.
So we got a bunch of guys that, and Mark Suki actually wrote earlier up there asking when are your tickets booked for? Guys want you back here.
You tell me.
Honestly, I have no idea when anything's gonna happen at this point.
I mean, really.
Like the only flights going out some days are flights to Shanghai at this point. So it's
tell Suki to start a GoFundMe for me.
Yeah, we need to do that. Suki, hook him up. GoFundMe. I actually just need to get Dylan involved in this with Dylan's business, right? So
yeah,
get
right.
that working. All right. Hey, so that's it.
I love everybody who's watching. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been love you too, Zach. It's been fun.
Yeah, and we'll talk soon.
All right. I miss the Pivo. I really do. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to say any words.
All right. Hey, love you, man. Tell your family I said hi, and be safe there in Philly. Try to practice some social distancing. You might have some antibodies by chance, but let's get this thing behind us, right?
I agree.
All right. Take it easy.
See you guys.
Bye.